Welcome to another episode of the House Huddle Podcast. Here are your hosts, Rob Schwartz and Justin Onayemi, two Bears fans who decided talking into a microphone was better than shouting at their television.
Welcome into episode 60 of the House Huddle Podcast. Huddle up! We're still better than the Bears.
I didn't bring it, man, but how can you?
But we were still in sync.
Right.
We didn't see that from the offense today. We didn't see that from the defense today.
Our huddle ups are kind of like their scripted drives.
We didn't even see that today.
Yeah, today, that wasn't it. I thought the defense must have scripted their first drive.
Maybe. They did stop them after letting up another big third down completion.
We're getting right to it, huh?
No. So we're in episode 60. This is the House Huddle Podcast. As always, I'm Rob Schwartz of Bear Goggles On. With me, my good buddy and co-host, Justin Onayemi. We actually watched the game together today. Maybe that was the problem.
Well, there's too many problems. That's pretty low on the list, but it was rough, man.
Yeah, so episode 60, we had to look it up.
In fact, the most drama in the game for us was trying to figure out which Taylor Swift song fit what had occurred in the game.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out a way to play the music. I was going to put it on my phone. Justin's like, can we get in trouble for copyright? I think we can play a small enough segment of it and not get in trouble. I don't even want to risk it.
But Fox already did enough coverage of Taylor Swift in the game.
How many times was she on this?
Way more than Matt Nagy.
That's right.
We'll talk about the Matt Nagy bet later.
We will. That was a good bet, actually.
Well, and Taylor Swift probably, all the times they cut away to her, at least one of those could have been Nagy if she wasn't in attendance.
Yeah, so. If she wasn't there, would it have caused that?
We set the number at 3.5. We'll discuss later what we believe actually it was.
Yes. And I think it was surprised. I think it was a fair understanding of what had taken place.
Absolutely. So,
I'm glad you're here. Episode 60. We are going to title this the Bob Babich episode because it rang a bell to us. We remember him as a coach. Obviously, we didn't watch him play. No one else really stood out to me.
I didn't know there were so many.
I
couldn't think of any, and then the list was longer than any number I've ever seen.
But there was also guys who was only here for a year. Yeah. They probably didn't even actually play in a game. True. And they still counted on the roster.
It doesn't seem like a legendary type of number.
It's not like the next one anyway.
Yeah.
So episode 60. As always, we're giving away a free Chicago Bears jersey. All you got to do is hit the subscribe button. I'm about ready to make it in any jersey at this point because I don't know how people can.
Well, what I was going to say is if we give it away soon and you pick your jersey, you could just put your own name on there. You might get in the game.
That's true.
Between how bad they look and the number of injuries they're sustaining, you might be able to play.
Yeah. The whole entire secondary at one point was gone. But it wouldn't have mattered.
It was only against Mahomes.
Here's the positive. Okay, guys, here's the positive. I know this means nothing to you, but Justin and I have Patrick Mahomes in fantasy. We got a good decent amount of points, even though he sat half the game.
Yeah. The last 20 minutes of the game he was not in, and not because the Bears were dominating the ball.
Not because of the ankle injury.
So Bears forced their first 2 turnovers of the season.
Yeah.
But they were against Blaine Gabbert.
It was the Bears starters versus all the Chiefs backups. So
actually, here's something I will say. This is going to be a funny episode, apparently. But
Jack Sandgod, by the way.
Oh, nice play. Yeah, picked off the backup quarterback. I keep saying I've played soccer my whole life. It's my main sport. But we always joked around, my dad and I, if you lose in soccer 7-0, you were just routed.
Uh-huh.
But if you lose 7-1, you just ran out of time. And that's how I felt about the Bears, 41-10, but they just ran out of time. They were coming back.
Well, they did win the second half, right?
Yeah.
It's 10-7.
10-7 in the second half.
We
are, of course, joking.
My son's team actually won 7-1 this weekend, so that's pretty interesting. All right, well, I'm going to start off the show with a little bit of a Rob's rant without it actually being a segment. But here's my notes for this game. And this is what we're going to do with them. Because I was ready to turn this game off very early and put Red Zone on. In fact, we did put Red Zone on, and we put Red Zone on one screen and had the Bears game on the other because it was just that bad.
Red Zone didn't even want to show the game.
That's right. They barely were showing it even when they were in the red zone. But I'm going to pretend that this is the playbook. And Luke Getsy just needs to do this, get the fuck out of town, fire his ass. Let's start this over. October, wipe the slate clean. We still got one more game before October, though, don't we? No, October 1st. Wipe the slate clean. Start over. Andrew Janocko, you are now my coordinator. Matt Eberflus, you're on the fucking hot seat. I don't even know why I'm a Bears fan. I don't know why I'm a Bears fan. We sat on this couch, and Justin's son, 16 years old, we had a conversation with him. It was too late for us. We can't go back now. And we told him, pick a new team. Don't do this to yourself. Don't do this to yourself. Do you want to mention the graphic that you sent to Bob and I?
Oh, for the
baseball season?
Yeah. So that's Jay Kuda. I don't know how you pronounce his name.
Sure.
He does a lot of cool statistical analysis of baseball. So he basically showed the records of all NFL teams over the last 162 as if it was a full baseball season.
Where are the Bears in that?
You saw it though.
I did see it.
Bears are 62-100.
They're not in last place, guys. They're not.
Oh, well.
But it's really freaking close.
Yes,
in their division. But in the NFL. But it's really freaking close. The Jets were below them. The Browns, I think, were below them. And that's about it.
Well, we used to make fun of the Lions a lot. And,
better than the Bears.
Bears look rough, dude.
Better than the Bears.
It's really bad. No, but this was the type of game where you're like, does someone need to be fired?
Yes.
I mean, Alan Williams resigned, and we know it wasn't necessarily because of X's and O's, but I said on the preview episode of this week, his X's and O's were terrible.
Yeah.
But you could say the same thing about the offense. You could say the same thing about the general preparation of the team, which to me falls on Eberflus. I understand, the situation they were in where he came in with a new GM, and they scrapped the whole roster. I get that.
Yeah. It's tough to win that
But
way.
they still talk about winning culture, things like that. I don't see it. At some point in the game today, I said to you, last year, they were the worst team in the NFL. But we kept trying to say they weren't because really it was their record that was the worst.
Right.
But they looked like a 3-14 team that you could have easily seen get 6 or 7 wins, and they didn't seem so bad. But now they look like the worst team in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean,
they share a record with the Vikings.
Arizona, granted, was at home, went and beat Dallas today.
Yeah. And they've been in their games.
Carolina's 0-3, but they have a rookie quarterback who they've seen some things out of. Granted, he was injured today, and that's one of the knocks on him is he's a very small guy wondering what he can sustain in the NFL.
And they were competitive with the Seahawks.
Houston, they gifted the Bears the worst record last year, but they've won a game this year. They have a rookie quarterback that's putting up numbers.
Averaging over 300 yards a game.
So you start to really take a closer look. And
would
it be shocking if they were 3-14 this year, the Bears?
By the way, CJ Stroud was my QB1. Everybody wanted Bryce. Everybody wanted Anthony Richardson. CJ Stroud was my QB1 going into this. I will say, though, I did not have the guts to put him above Justin Fields. I would not have said.
So, the Bears should
trade
take
Fields,
him.
take Stroud. I did not have the guts to do that. However, CJ Stroud was my QB1. Could they finish worse than 3-14? Damn fucking right they can. I'm sorry. This is an explicit podcast. I'm going to swear all the fuck I want. Yes, they can.
So I heard just a minute of Eberflus talking, and he said a whole bunch of cliches, including that it's only 3 games and it just matters what the people in this locker room think because we're going to be hearing a lot of stuff from people almost as if the stuff they'd be hearing wasn't warranted. It's very warranted what they would be hearing. But he's saying, and he's spinning this in a positive way, we have a big opportunity coming ahead of us. We have 2 games in the next 11 days because they play Denver at home on Sunday, and then they play Thursday night, I think, at home again. No, it's in Washington because last year they played at home. And then on Thursday night, they go to Washington. Would you be shocked? Would you be floored if they lost both games?
No, Sam Howell's looked good. Eric Bieniemy.
They could easily lose both those games. Now, so in 11 days from today, you could be 0-5.
Could Eric Bieniemy be the next coach next year? I mean, he left Kansas City and is proving himself in a way that Matt Nagy never did. being behind Andy Reid's coattails. And everyone was like, oh, Bieniemy can't do it. Bieniemy can't do it. Bieniemy can't do it. Now, they did lose today, right?
Yeah,
but like,
they got stomped.
They did, but like, they look competent. Way more than Chicago looks competent.
Put it this way. I just said, would you be surprised if they had lost their next two games?
The answer is no.
The team that no. But here's the thing: the team that they play next just lost 70-20 today.
That's right.
And they're favored to beat the Bears next week.
And the Bears are at home. They get that -3, right? Right off the bat.
Okay. On the flip side, if you want to buy into what Eberflus is saying, which it's starting to sound more and more crazy to be able to want to believe what he's saying. But if they win those two games, and all of a sudden you're 2-3. Well, and everyone knew you were going to lose to the Chiefs. And we
knew this was a loss.
Right.
It just wasn't supposed to look like this.
Right. But in 11 days, they could be 2-3, feeling good about things, have extra rest going into the next game, which is, I think, Minnesota, who they're having a very disappointing start.
Okay, but I mentioned Minnesota, also 0-3. But let's flip it back to what we just said with the Bears last year. They're 0-3, but they don't look like an 0-3 team. Kirk Cousins is like leading fantasy because they're putting up 30 some points.
So Minnesota was 13-4 last year or something like that. They were 11-0 in one-score games.
Sure.
They're 0-3 this year. All of them have been one-score games.
Would you rather be
turning the ball over like crazy? Absolutely.
Or a Bears fan this year?
The Vikings are a better 0-3 team than the Bears are.
For sure. They're probably better than a lot of 1-2 teams right now.
So this is shaping up in a way that both you and I did not anticipate. I mean, you were a little less.
I was more gun shy.
You said 8-9, and you kind of put it in because you knew you were overly excited the year prior.
Yeah.
Which obviously now, looking back on it, was the smart thing to do.
Not 8.
But I had them scratching for the playoffs.
8's too high.
It'd be tough to get to 8 now.
Oh, easily.
Some of their games we thought are winnable are still ahead of them on the schedule.
Yes.
But why is Arizona a winnable game when they can beat Dallas?
It's not.
Why is Atlanta a winnable game when they're 2-1 and have looked okay?
It's not.
Raiders, Chargers. I mean, who are you going to beat? Chargers were 0-2 coming into this week, but they look a lot better than the Bears.
Yeah.
They look like an NFL
team. They tried to give it away again today.
Yeah.
To the Vikings, by the way.
Maybe we're going to have to change this to just an NFL podcast because I don't know how much I can talk about the Bears anymore.
Well, I joked about it as he was leaving today, and I said, I think we need to change the name to just the Bad News Bears podcast because we just need to talk about everything but the Bears. Like, it's sad. It's so sad. And I want to put stuff on Fields. I want to put I don't even know how to grade Fields after today. Like, he looked bad in some spots, but like, again, like it was like the offense didn't even get a chance out there. Like, they weren't doing anything.
5 minutes into the second quarter, I highlighted this at the time. I think already by then I knew this was not a game we were going to go deep into the X's and O's. 5 minutes into the second quarter, he was 2 for 3 for 29 yards.
20 minutes into the game.
Yes, 2 for 3 for 29 yards.
2 for 3.
At the end of the game, at the end of the third quarter, right when he took that mean-looking hit and probably sustained a concussion.
Thank God
he was looking.
I mean,
even though he came back in.
DJ Moore, thank you, sir, for looking out for your guy.
Doing his job better than the people who are supposed to be not affiliated with either team who are looking for that exact thing.
Yes.
What are they doing? Just sitting close to the field thinking they have front row seats?
I guess so.
But he came back in, so apparently he's fine.
Yep, he's fine.
But
he did throw a touchdown.
At that time, end of the third quarter, Fields was 6 for 16 for 46 yards and an interception. And I said, well, he must have been wrong here. He had 5 more yards than KC had points.
Because they had 42 at the time.
41.
41 at the time, yeah. I can't do math either.
It was very, very rough. But, early on, I mean, I understand Mahomes is a guy that nobody can really scheme for or figure out a way to contain. Even though in the pregame, I heard like his worst game of his career was last time he faced Eberflus when Eberflus was defensive coordinator in Indy. Well, he must have thrown away his notepad because it didn't look that way today. But how is it that like Kelsey is just wide open all over the field? Like, to me, triple team him and let someone else beat you. Double team him and let someone else beat you. But rather, no, we'll just leave him completely open.
I didn't confirm this and I didn't write it down, but I'm pretty sure they finished 9 of 12 on third down conversions. And if I recall correctly on the stat sheet, the average distance was like between 7 and 9 yards.
That's the thing about the Bears this year. They've been giving away third downs at a crazy clip, and they've been long. Third and long.
Yeah, we're not talking 3rd and 3s, 3rd and 4s. We're talking 3rd and 5 and longer.
Let's see. I don't know.
There was one. It was what 3rd and 7, and it was a little dump pass to the flat.
Yeah,
and
behind
he caught
the scrimmage
2 yards behind. So he gained like 9 yards to get the first down.
So it ended up being 10 of 14, and then the Bears were 4 of 12.
10 of 14. Wow.
Bears were 1 for 2 on 4th down. But some of this was in garbage time. Garbage time was the entire 4th quarter and about a third. Let's be honest. Garbage time was the whole second half.
Yeah, Blaine Gabbert.
But it was officially garbage time when they started pulling guys off the field.
Yeah.
They were playing preseason game number 4 in week 3 of the actual season against you.
Apparently, garbage time was when the Chicago Bears got off the airplane because they did not show up for this game. I don't see them. You know, we talk about Matt Eberflus. I said this while we were watching it. Like, I'm watching other games at the same time, watching the Chiefs. No matter if it's defense, offense, like, I can only think of a small handful of players who look like they want to play the game, who look like they're out there playing hard, hitting hard.
So Khalil Herbert had a fumble, and then Rojo came in and played decently well. And I know he's one of the guys you're talking about, always looking like he's playing hard. Is he your starter soon?
Yes. He actually outsnapped him, and I think it was because of the fumble. But
so here's the thing.
He can pick up the blitz.
Eberflus is a defensive-minded coach.
He's got to fucking go.
He's talking about the hits principle, which we never see in actual. You can't tell me your team cares about hits principle and you get a delay of game on the first play of a drive. You had a touchback. You know exactly where on the field you're going to. You should already have your call or whatever you plan to do. Like, hey, we have a drive coming up. They just scored. Like, you had all the time to talk. You get a delay of game.
And I get that, like, you know, Bob actually texted it too. It's like, I get that, like, they were trying to make an adjustment to the blocking. They obviously saw something at the line of scrimmage. There's miscommunication between Carter and Patrick or Carter and Fields. You either got to snap the ball or take a timeout, something.
So, big picture, though, this is what I was going to say. Eberflus is a defensive-minded coach.
Yes.
You, stronger than I, but I think we actually both agree. It's odd that you would hire a defensive-minded coach at a time in the NFL where it's all about the offense.
Although, look at Houston.
True. But we should see his footprint on this team then.
Yes.
And through 3 games, today, 0 sacks. Last week, 0 sacks. They have 1 sack this season. Today was their first 2 takeaways. First 2 takeaways of the season, and they were against Blaine Gabbert.
Those don't even count.
If Mahomes stayed in the game, you think they're getting any of those turnovers?
No, maybe the one that was bobbled, tipped, right?
Yeah, because Kansas City can't catch the ball.
Right.
A team that can't catch pretty much annihilated
outside
you.
of Kelsey.
So I don't know when we're going to see that. And if you take that away, he's not instilling any sort of defensive philosophy that's teaching your team how to win or leading towards any type of success.
Hits means shit.
Hits isn't doing anything. What is he there for?
It's the shits principle.
What is he there for? These quotes, like, is anyone listening? Like, when I hear what he's saying, it sounds like a bunch of empty cliches.
Yep.
And then when I see the play, it seems like that the people he's talking to in that locker room must think it's a bunch of empty cliches.
So I get, like, when a coach comes in front of the media for press conferences, whether it's before the game, after the game, during the week, whatever, they're not going to say what they're exactly thinking. They're half the time not even going to say exactly what they're saying to their players behind the scenes, right? I want to know what he's saying to the players. Is he trying to pass off this bullshit to them too? Because this is how you lose the team. And we heard Justin Fields say it too. I did listen to part of his press conference. He kind of he's apparently still on board because he made a comment. Do you remember how the Detroit Lions started out the season last year? They were 1-6. Okay. I don't give a shit about the Detroit Lions last year. I want to see what you guys can do. You look like garbage. At least the Detroit Lions looked good when they played those games. I remember them losing to the Packers, and and this was Aaron Rodgers Packers, not Jordan Love Packers, so get off that shit. I think they lost like 27-24. Like, they actually looked like a legit NFL football team. They don't look like a legit NFL football team. The Chicago Bears look like trash.
Why is your bar? Yeah, remember the 2022 Lions? That's what we're shooting for. I know we're only 0-2 at the time, but remember how they were 1-6? Come on, man. This is.
All right, we're gonna make this a shorter episode because I'm just getting pissed off. So let's take a break really quick, because then I do want to talk a little bit about the game. I know we said we weren't going to, but there's one thing, and it happened early, that I want to point out, and it is one reason why, if I am Matt Eberflus or if I'm Ryan Poles, and I'm going to say, look, I'm the general manager. I don't care if you have the ability to pick who you are as coaches, but it's one reason, again, that shows me why Luke Getsy deserves to be fired tonight.
Okay, but before we go to the break, I just happened to look down at my notes, which I didn't take a whole lot of today.
I stopped.
And I wrote down Dominique Robinson, and I know that alone could send you over the edge.
Fuck Robinson. Yeah, we can talk about that on the flip side too. All right, Robinson, Getsy, you want to hear why?
I have nothing to say about Robinson.
I'll talk about it. You want to hear why Robinson should be inactive next week?
But that's a knock on Poles.
It is. Do you want to hear?
Should he have been on this 53?
We'll talk about it.
All right.
Talk about it next. Enjoy these ads. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button, please. It helps us grow as a channel. I don't know why I want to grow. I'm ready to just fold this damn thing up. But do it anyway. Leave us a comment. Tell us how you're feeling. I want to hear all about it. Tell us which Taylor Swift song you think should be the theme song for this game, because apparently it depends on which side you're on. But if you're a Bears fan, Death by a Thousand Cuts is the one I ended up going with. So
I'm not very big on her catalog. So.
I had to look that shit up too. All right. We'll be back.
Welcome back to episode 60 of the Hallis Huddle. I knew we were back. I just didn't know what to say. This whole thing has left me speechless. But pre-game,
I go through like these emotions. It's like I get mad and I like want to cry, and then it's just like I laugh because it's.
I know that time I just froze out of just like complete apathy. But in our we did a pre-show leading to this, and that did not break the curse. So apparently that's not the trick.
No.
But we had talked about several things, and one that we kind of joked about is that this is the Matt Nagy revenge game. So how would that play out?
Which there wasn't really any trickery plays. Remember
they did do that one, which we have to look into the rule change.
We do.
They ran like kind of like an end around.
Yes.
And then the halfback threw it to Mahomes,
which you called way before it was even happening.
Yeah. Because a lot of teams have been doing that this week. But it looked like the throw to Mahomes was fairly sideways, but it looked slightly forward, and then Mahomes threw it forward. So it seemed like two forward passes.
Right. But I recall, they changed the rule this year where you can do two forward passes as long as they're both behind the line of scrimmage.
Well, not both. Because Mahomes is definitely.
I'm sorry.
If the first one is
correct
from behind the line of scrimmage, you can throw it forward.
Yes.
As still okay.
And I think it has to do with like they're trying to
make crazy plays happen.
Well, like at the end of games when you're down by like 7 and you're trying to like score from nowhere, right?
Okay. Well, it was weird, but that was the only did Nagy do that just to show his brilliance? Did it end up working? Not really, or
no, he missed.
Incomplete.
Yeah, he's incomplete.
But anyway, so we joked around like they'd be showing Nagy on the field, and I set the over under at 3.5. Rob was quite confident in the over, saying it would be probably more like 5. Now, with Taylor Swift,
the ones with the penalties, it might have been where the penalty with their Juwan Taylor, who also got pulled from the game, by the way.
I think that was it. I think they did complete the play. And what's his name?
Juwan Taylor.
Juwan Taylor. Now, in week 1 against the Lions, he was lined up too far back almost on every play and was false starting on every single play and was called for neither.
Yeah.
And I was pissed because we had Aiden Hutchinson, who was playing very well, but couldn't get around because – but then today's game, they called him twice on it, and they ended up sitting him down. So, but sorry, we set the over-under for Matt Nagy camera shots at 3.5. Rob was confident in the over.
I said 5.
And so we were counting 1, 2, 3. Now, you might say it's impossible to get a half.
It happened, guys. It happened.
You want to tell them?
All right. So, wait.
Late in the game.
Hold on. We're gonna play this out.
You're gonna act it out?
I am. You're gonna be Andy Reid.
All right, I'm Andy Reid.
All right. Wait.
Talking to Mahomes. The camera is just on Mahomes and Reid, and then all of a sudden Nagy enters the shot, And we're like, that really wasn't them showing Nagy. That's his half. So it was a push. 3.5, you shouldn't be able to push, but in this case, we'll call it a push.
Oh, that was a tie.
So when you watch the Bears these days, you got to find ways to still get enjoyment out of what you're seeing.
That's
so that
right.
was it for us.
That's right.
Oh man, it's been rough, man. But
It is.
before the break, I didn't take very many notes. But
Dominique Robinson.
So here, let me set the stage, and then I'll let you
Okay.
go crazy about it.
Okay.
So when we were talking about the Bears 53, both of us did not think Dominique Robinson was necessarily a guy that should make it. You had Travis Gibson, who was playing pretty well in the preseason. We know he's not a perfect scheme fit. We know he wasn't a guy they had brought in.
Right.
So, and there may have been something behind the scenes we're not sure about. But you had Terrell Lewis, a guy you went out and signed, play very well in the preseason, and show a heck of a lot more than Dominique Robinson.
Yep.
Now, to remind people about Dominique Robinson, he's a second-year player. They drafted him fifth round.
Yep.
He was converted from wide receiver to defensive end.
Yep.
He's a project. And so far, that project hasn't panned out.
He was 1.5 sacks.
Yeah, and they were both in game 1, I want to say, of last
Yes.
season. He bites on any type of action that's meant to be misdirection. And it happened. That's what I wrote down. Said he loses contain again on a big Pacheco run right after an easy third down conversion, not covering Kelsey. This was on Kansas City's third drive. I wasn't taking notes too much after that. But you, Ryan Poles, you Bears organization, decided to keep a project on your team.
And you could have let him go and put him on the damn practice squad.
No
one was going to take him.
No one was going to get him. No one was going to take him. And if they did, they'd be looking at him
Yeah.
biting on these actions because they'd have to activate him to his 53.
Right.
It was a bad decision. I'm not ready to put a whole lot on Poles in terms of like him being on the hot seat. But please explain to me, and I know you can't, why is he on the team? Why have we not seen growth and progress from him?
There's more to this story, guys. There's more. Khalid Kareem. They let Terrell Lewis go to bring in Khalid Kareem off the Indianapolis Colts. I can't even speak. Indianapolis Colts practice squad. The guy's done nothing. But you know what they saw? They saw him in practice. They saw him in a joint practice 2 days in a row, guys. 2 days in a row. And that was all Matt Nagy. I'm sorry. I screwed that up. That's all Matt Eberflus needed to see. That's it. He had 2 great practices. So we're going to get rid of Terrell Lewis, who was doing great, not only in practice against your number 1 draft pick, Darnell Wright, constantly beating him in practice, constantly beating guys in the preseason. And I get it. He's on New Orleans. He's on the practice squad. I don't even think he's been activated yet. I get it. But he's in this scheme. He's been practicing with this the whole time this offseason. You can't just leave a team and just like expect to do something on another team. Like it doesn't click like that. He was doing well here in this scheme. He was playing hard. Travis Gibson was playing hard. I know he's better at the 3-4 as an outside linebacker. But here's where I'm pissed off. We heard them say, and when I say them, it was Ryan Poles, say he's a better scheme fit for what we want to do in the run game. Okay? So why did you keep Dominique Robinson? Why?
But here,
what has he done in the run game? All year last year, we saw him get over pursue, not hold his containment over and over and over again. And it happened again today. And I was like, hey, that's Yannick Ngakwe's side, thinking it was Ngakwe. And then I saw number 90. I was like, nope, Justin, it's Dominique Robinson. It is.
But let me ask you though. So when you keep a guy like that, knowing he's a project and he's basically playing starters reps. I mean,
yes.
Walker was in there a bit and has showed flashes, but again, 1 sack as a team through 3 games. But keeping a guy like that who's converted newly to the position is implying that you're more focused on the long term than right now.
And maybe Ryan Poles is.
I'm starting to wonder.
He has
even
now.
Is
He's
this
still
another
saying
tank year?
Even now, he's saying they're only 70 to 80% done.
Right, but how far are they from being 60% done? I'm serious.
Or 40 at this point.
If you lose 2 games in the next 11 days, or if you only go 1-1, you're either 1-4 or 0-5. This team has not won since October 24th of last season.
We're going
of last calendar year.
13 losses in a row, almost a full year.
Oh, and they gave up 25 or more again.
Yes.
So that record is growing.
Yes.
But my point is, if you kept the guy who was showing flashes, who's looking good, because you thought winning right now was possible, maybe that you make a certain decision. Is this year already a wash? Is this year already like another one where, and if it is, it won't be long before we have to decide, do you trade a Darnell Mooney, who once again, I don't think had a catch this game.
Nope.
Do you trade Eddie Jackson, although he's hurt? But like all these guys who it's like, should you be, this is not what we thought we were going to be seeing this year.
I'm trading Jalen Johnson, right? All those guys, anyone who you don't already know is coming back, you haven't given them a contract extension because you know that there's a good chance that you're not keeping them. Those are guys, if you can trade them before the trade deadline and acquire more draft assets, why not? You're going to have to build for the future. And I am a Ryan Poles supporter, and I'm not ready to jump ship on him yet. But like you said, this situation is a bad look on him. He's the one that wants to keep Dominique Robinson over guys who are showing us something. And eventually, Ryan Poles is going to be on the hot seat too. But I'm ready to get rid of at least Luke Getsy at this point.
Please, everyone who's listening, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. The Bears were not a Terrell Lewis away from winning today's game.
No, not even close.
But I'm just wondering where their vision is, because I don't see it from Eberflus. A move like that makes me question it for Poles. But you've mentioned Getsy.
And here's the problem with me wanting to fire Eberflus, even more than just getting rid of Luke Getsy, is like, who are you bringing in?
Right.
And now you might have to realign guys because they don't fit the schemes or the system that you're trying to run. Like, it becomes a problem again. And I got to say, I did listen to part of the CHGO post-game show because I was out running errands and I had nothing else to do. And they were talking about it, and I didn't think about it until after they said it, but it makes sense. They keep going in this horrible direction. And I think Adam Hogue actually gave Adam Johns credit for talking about this at the Athletic. But like, you went from like Jerry Angelo and you get Jay Cutler. And then you're like, okay, well, we got to keep Jay Cutler, even though we're bringing in, well, I think it was Phil Emery was next, right? So Phil Emery's getting stuck with that quarterback. He can't get rid of him because that's what we're deciding to do as an organization. This comes all the way up to the McCaskies, by the way. Then you get rid of Jay Cutler. They get to bring in their quarterback. They bring in their coach, which I believe was John Fox at the time, and Ryan Pace. Then you're bringing in Mitch Trubisky. Then it's like every time you go, it's like no one aligns. Where is the alignment of general manager, coach, quarterback? You don't see it ever. And we're going all the way back to Lovie Smith.
It's looking like it's going to need to be next year. And maybe it's Poles deciding on a new quarterback and a new coach.
So that's what I think needs to happen. And I think this needs to come from Kevin Warren. Because if you're bringing in Kevin Warren to make changes in this organization and not be just a fucking pencil pusher like Ted Phillips, you want real organizational changes. He needs to say, George, sit down. Get out of this room. You have nothing to do with this anymore. Sit down. Ryan, here's your choice. You stay. You can stay. I'm going to give you this choice. You can stay. Matt's got to go. Matt's got to go. I'm sorry. I love Justin, but Justin's got to go. You need to find a coach. Not this Justin. We haven't hit 1 million followers yet. 1 million subscribers yet. Then he can go. Then I'm going to be on my island. No. Matt Eberflus has to go. Okay? As soon as Matt Eberflus is gone, everyone's gone. Whole new coaching staff, right? So I don't even care who else is here at any other position. And Justin Fields has got to go because I want to see an alignment. Ryan Poles, you get to choose your coach and not from a short list that came from Bill Polian and
George
George
were doing
McCaskey.
coach interviews before GM interviews.
Yes.
What sense does that make?
I get that.
That already means you're going to cut off the guy's leg.
I get that there is like a situation where you need to interview certain people because of the way that the playoffs run and there's certain scheduling and you might not want to lose out on a guy. You took a guy from a team that was in fourth. Like they took fourth from last. Like, come on.
So
what did they win? 4 games last year?
Here's my problem. You and I are sitting on these chairs. we know a decent amount about Bears and a decent amount about NFL football.
Yes.
But we've never coached. We've never played. I mean, you played, but not at a high level.
Not at a high level. I didn't even get to high school. Broke my femur, and my mom never let me play again.
But here's the thing. The types of things they need to be doing are so obvious. Like, not only were they not running Justin Fields, they weren't running the ball, period. And these weren't games they were getting blown out of. I'm talking about week 1 and 2.
Now they
come out running. It looked okay.
Yes.
But take us through, like, once you're running the ball effectively, now incorporate play action. And play action boots. They're not doing any of that until 3rd and 7. Fields, who has trouble reading the field, has to do a fake to, I think it was Herbert. Maybe it was Rojo. I'm not sure.
I don't remember.
But it was not a real fake. Nobody bought it. Nobody thought they were running. All you did was slow him down and have him not looking up the field. And it was a terrible 3rd down that was not converted. I don't know if it was a 3 and out or if it was 5 and out. But there doesn't seem to be any flow. There doesn't seem to be a legitimate plan. And I know this is Getsy's first time as a play caller. But something's got to happen, man. I feel like this is time for change.
It's Luke Getsy's first time as a play caller, but you and I, sitting here at our houses, could call a better game. I said it before, my 9-year-old son.
So don't call 2 screens the same right at your own goal line, back-to-back plays.
No.
3 times.
And here, I give him credit. They ran a quick slant. It scored a touchdown. We haven't seen it. I mean, you called it 5 times in the last 5 years, maybe.
Fantasy saver too, right?
Yes, it did help our fantasy
DJ Moore
team.
was sitting on 0 for most of the game.
But it's like, that's the easiest thing. Okay, I tweeted this out last week. If I was Luke Getsy, if I was the offensive coordinator, no, take it back. If I was Andrew Janocko, because Luke Getsy, get the hell out of here, because Justin said 3rd and 7, you did a play action pass, but on 2nd and 7 is when you ran the ball in a stacked box. Greg Olson called it out from the damn booth. He's like, oh, this should be play action. They're stacking the box. They've been running the ball well.
And it was a run for 0 yards.
Yes.
0 was friendly. It looked like it should have been -1.
At least -0.5. And it's like over and over and over again, the flow isn't there. The decision-making isn't there. And we complained about this with Matt Nagy too. It's like, how do you guys not understand the concept of the game? I know I am simplifying it too much, but it's literally, you have a bad offensive line, you run the ball. You have a bad offensive line, you run play actions.
You move the pocket.
You have a bad offensive line, you move the pocket with rollouts and just shifts. And the other thing too is, like, you want 3-step quick reads. And then when they start playing in, that's when you take your deep shots. That's when you do the play action fakes.
Double move.
Like, we're not seeing it consistently, at least. I mean, there's times where I'm like, oh, okay, that's nice. Oh, that good combination of plays there. And then it's like, what was that? My 9-year-old son, by the way, will never punt the football in Madden. My 9-year-old son does onside kicks every time he has the ball as a kickoff, and he still would be a better decision maker than Luke Getsy. Oh, I don't know. Just get rid of him, please. Somebody needs to be fired after this game. This is Mark Trestman era. Like, I'm letting up back-to-back 50 burgers.
It could have easily been one.
Oh, it would have been. They could have pushed for that 70 points.
I mean, Miami never took their foot off the gas and scored 70 today.
Kansas City
did. It was 41-0.
Yes.
Mahomes did not play last 5 minutes of the 3rd quarter or any of the 4th.
Yes. It's so frustrating to watch this team, and I don't know what needs to happen to change it other than what we just said. Kevin Warren, talk to Ryan Poles.
But that sounded like end of the season stuff you just said.
I'm talking about getting rid of Luke Getsy now.
Oh, I understand.
Because here's why, if I'm Matt Eberflus, I'm getting rid of Luke Getsy. As bad as the defense has looked, and you have to take ownership of that as Matt Eberflus, because that's your baby, whether Alan Williams is here or not. At least if you make a change at offensive coordinator, and we saw this with Matt Nagy, like, oh, we're going to get play calling from me to the guy from Oregon. I'm blanking on his fucking name. Last name started with an H.
Helfrich?
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. That's how unimportant he was to this team. Like, you saw, like, at least they did something to try to make a change. He has to make something. Otherwise, like, this is trying to save his job already in year 2. He is on the hot seat. Luke Getsy's on the hot seat. I already put Alan Williams on the hot seat. Unfortunately, he resigned quite shortly after I put him on the hot seat, and Justin Fields is on the hot seat. All 4 of them.
So what percentage chance is there an actual real
firing,
tangible move, shakeup, anything like that? Okay. Going into next week, 0%.
Do you know why?
Going
it's
into
0%?
the week after, especially if you lose to Denver, are we talking then? Like, or any point in this season, do you see it actually happening?
It's hard to say that it will remain 0% because there has been a regime change that we think is there. We've seen Kevin Warren take over for Ted Phillips. We've seen Ryan Poles literally just cut this thing down.
These are his coaches,
right? I've said from the beginning that his first mistake ever was to hire Matt Eberflus.
So they last won on October 24th, 2022.
Yeah.
You have 4 games before then, before the anniversary of your last win. You have home against Denver, who just got shellacked this week, which I don't know if that wakes them up or if you're just as bad. Then on a short week, you go to Washington.
Yeah.
Home against the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
Home against the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
You could lose all those games.
Yeah.
It's more likely you lose all those than you go 3-1, let's say.
So I would like to say that they go 0-4. For sure, someone is fired. But I can't say that with certainty because if
they go 0-4 in that stretch, you're 0-7.
But
you haven't won in over a year.
The McCaskies put their, we sit here and talk as outsiders and fans and analysts and whatever, bloggers, whatever we want to call ourselves, podcasters, about Jerry Jones and how much influence he has on that team as an owner, right? He doesn't just let his GM be the GM. He doesn't just let his coach be the coach. Like he puts his footprint on that team, whether it's good or bad. The McCaskies seem to do it too, just quietly. I'm a fan. I'm George McCaskey. I'm just a fan. I don't want to do anything. I let everyone do. Bull fucking shit. You're just a fan. You guys want these stupid traditions. I always see everyone say, bring back the honey. I don't care about stupid honey bear. I don't care about stupid cheerleaders. That's not going to win you football games. Stop that. That's like an old school, you're 60 plus years old mentality. Get that shit out of here too. Okay? Get it out of here. But what I am tired of are the vanilla coaches. And I am not a Mike Ditka fan he's a great coach because he wasn't. Okay? He wasn't. We saw him really, really bad as a coach for the Saints, right? And the Bears after Buddy Ryan left. Buddy Ryan's defense is what made that team great. But what I do give Mike Ditka credit for is he wasn't someone who's just going to sit there and take crap. And I see these guys come out, the Dick Jurons, even the Lovie Smiths, and I love Lovie Smith, best coach that I've ever seen in my lifetime as a Chicago Bears fan, right? Maybe Dave Wanstead's a little bit more of a ruffle the feathers guy, but even when it was like, the traditions of the Chicago Bears, and I have these photos back here, and this is a great opportunity for me to ask questions, and I present them information, and then they have to retain that stuff, and I ask them questions again, and that's how they're going to be on my 53-man roster. Come on. Who cares about tradition when you're losing 62 to 100?
That's what I'm saying. How far back are we looking for this tradition stuff?
1985, Marty McFly.
I mean, I'm telling you, though, it goes further back than that with some of this stuff because you bring up Ditka. That team should have won multiple championships.
Yep.
So you won one. When you had the best defense, you had a Hall of Fame running back, you had as much as we'll ever see.
And you won one. Mm-hmm.
And then that's been 40 damn years practically. And we're not clawing at the door for another one.
Julian.
You're talking about a possible new quarterback, new coach.
Julian is Justin Sutton. Julian, do not retain being a Bears fan. I'm not pushing it on my kids.
This is like get out.
And what's funny is I
out.
sing my kids the Bear Down song as a nursery song. I still sing it to them as a nighttime song. But I don't push them to be a Bears fan. I don't. My one son is a Chiefs fan. My other son likes everyone else who pretty much plays the Bears. So don't be a Bears fan, Julian. Get out while you can, please. I don't know what else to say. I'm now at a loss of words. I think I've yelled enough.
Yeah, it's really disturbing. I mean, the only thing I can think to say is, as bad as this feels, if they lose next week to a team that just lost by 50.
Yeah. Even if they lose by 1. That's not good.
No, I'm saying if they lose, period.
I'm just saying, like, guys,
0-4.
there's no moral victories next week.
There's no.
And here's the thing is, like, the interception by Fields, I was fine with that. I like that they're at least trying to throw the ball downfield. Like, I was fine with that. It was a great play by the corner. I think it was a corner who jumped up.
Yeah, Reed, you said.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was Reed who jumped up, tipped the ball. Like,
make them make a play.
That wasn't like Justin Fields made the bad read. The play was there. The pass was there. It's just he didn't get it quite high enough. Like, that happens. It happens to the best of people. I wasn't upset about that at all. I'm more upset about the Herbert fumble. But, like, more upset about throwing an interception on a screen pass. Like, those types of things. If you're pushing the ball downfield, there's going to be times where it happens. And he did it today. I got to give Fields credit. He tried to let his guys make plays. He threw it to Claypool. Claypool didn't high point the ball.
You're right. You said at some point when his stats were up there and they looked horrible, and you said, well, what if Claypool catches that ball? What if DJ Moore? Moore's was a drop.
Right through
That's
the
a drop,
breadbasket.
Man. At first, I thought it was the coverage. He had two hands on the ball. Maybe he was thinking about his feet, but he's a wide receiver one.
Yeah.
He should have come down with that ball.
Now, great one-handed catch that he made.
He made up for it slightly with that, but the woulda, coulda, shouldas and all that, that was supposed to be last year.
Right.
This was supposed to be no excuses.
This isn't Dante Pettis out there.
Oh, man.
Which, by the way, I didn't even look, but I'm guessing, again, because I didn't see him out there, Equanimeous St. Brown.
He was inactive.
Another inactive. Why is Velus Jones out there to watch the ball go into the end zone for a touchback every single time? Why? That's another knock on polls.
Well, you don't want to keep guys that weren't your guys, and then now you're keeping your guys who don't have spots on this roster.
Right.
We just named two of them.
And Equanimeous St. Brown technically is your guy. You brought him in here as a free agent.
And then brought him in again.
And you're trying to run wide receiver screens, and that's the guy who needs to be out there.
So I was just taking a look. Mooney did have one target. Actually, he might have been the one targeted on the pick. I couldn't tell who that was intended for.
I think he was the one that was targeted. There was a target. He had it. It was like an overthrow.
Yeah. So he had one target, no catches. Maybe Travis Scott, not Travis Scott, Tyler Scott. I always say that.
Yeah.
He had 3 targets, 1 catch. These are sad numbers, man.
There's nothing that I can say. I mean, turn it around. Prove me wrong, guys. Prove me wrong, because right now I think I'm right. And I know I hate being a negative naysayer, but like I think I'm right, and I think that this coaching staff is going to cause problems. I want to see Justin Fields succeed, so get him out of here because he's not going to succeed here. Like, I'm a huge Justin Fields fan, supporter. I think he has the talent. I don't want to see him. This isn't a Mitch Trubisky situation. He goes somewhere else and lands with a decent offensive play caller. You're going to see him do things.
I don't know. I think I would have agreed with you at some point. I'm not sure of it now. To be honest.
I still am. Because I see the right decisions.
Okay,
I see the right reads. I see him making the checks at the line.
Okay, if that's the case, then it is a matter of Getsy needs to go, and you keep Fields and see if you can get something more out of him.
But again, if they're in the running right now because Arizona won, right? It's them, the Minnesota Vikings, Carolina, and I think one other team that I'm blanking on, right? Who are in the run for the top pick in the NFL draft. If they end up with 1 and 2 because of the Carolina pick, I'm telling you, even if they just end up with 1, right? You take Caleb Williams over Justin Fields. I'm sorry. Like, I said that before this season even started. Caleb Williams is over Justin Fields. I love Justin, but Caleb Williams has shown way more to me at USC than Fields showed me at Ohio State with his receivers being wide open constantly.
So I think it's too early to do that, but just so you know, Broncos are 0-3.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Broncos.
I'm saying that because they play next week.
Yes.
The winner of that game now has the tiebreaker on. I mean, one team's going to go 0-4. The other is going to be 1-3 with their only victory coming against that 0-4 team.
Yeah, well.
So
I'm not feeling good about the Bears winning that game anymore.
And Bengals, who we know are much better than the Bears, just on paper, they're 0-2. They play Monday night.
Right. Which we picked them to win.
We'll see. Did we?
Yeah.
Who they got? They're not going against Philly, are they?
No, Philly's Tampa.
There's 2 Monday night games. Yeah, Philly's at Tampa. Cincinnati. Yeah, we did pick them to win. I can't remember who they're playing.
I don't remember.
All right, man. Well,
this has been an episode,
we
guys.
Can't have too many episodes like this.
This has been an episode.
We'll see.
I don't know. Justin and I might fold this thing up.
I don't know. This is tough.
I had fun though. I get to hang out with my buddies.
Bear
So.
down, I guess.
Bear down.